Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about a word you've definitely heard a million times, economics. But trust me, by the end of this, you're going to see it's about something way more personal than you might think. So let's start with a quick question. When I say the word economics, what's the very first image that pops into your head? Hold that thought, because we're about to dive into what it really means. Is it this? The blinking stock tickers, Wall Street traders yelling, giant ships moving goods across the globe, all that big, complicated global stuff. And yeah, you're not wrong. That's definitely a piece of the puzzle. But what if I told you economics is also about this? Something so simple, so routine. You probably did it without even thinking about it today. That's right. Just posting on social media. The little decision of what to post, when to post it, even if you should post it all. That's an economic decision. And here's the big secret. At its core, economics isn't about money. It's about choices. The thousands of tiny choices we all make every single day. And that lands us right on the official definition. Economics is the study of how humans make decisions in the face of scarcity. That's it. That's the bedrock for everything we're going to talk about. But what exactly does scarcity mean? Well, that one word, scarcity, gets us to the fundamental problem of economics. And it's a problem we all know intimately. You just can't have everything you want. So scarcity is pretty simple. It just means that what we humans want, whether it's stuff or experiences or even time, it's basically endless. But the resources we have to get those things, they're limited. It's the ultimate mismatch between our desires and reality. And look, this isn't some newfangled idea. Way back in the 1930s, the economist Lionel Robbins totally nailed it. He said this gap between what we want and what we have is just a fundamental part of being human. And it's so important to remember that this isn't just a theory in a textbook. Scarcity has real human consequences. It's the reason people face hunger. It's why people lack shelter. It's why every single person in every single country on Earth has to make really tough choices. Okay, so if scarcity is a fact of life for all of us, how do we deal with it? Let's take that huge idea and bring it right down to our level with a really simple tool that economists use. I want you to meet Alfonso. Now, Alfonso has $10 to spend for the week. He likes two things: burgers, which cost $2, and bus tickets, which are 50 cents. This line right here, it's called a budget constraint. It's basically a visual map of every single combination of burgers and bus tickets he can possibly afford. And that simple little map shows us what might be the single most important idea in all of microeconomics: opportunity cost. All it means is that the real cost of anything isn't the price tag. It's the value of the next best thing you had to give up to get it. So let's go back to Alfonso. The true cost of him buying one more $2 burger isn't really $2. It's the 4 bus tickets he can no longer buy. That's the opportunity cost. It's a way of thinking that makes you ask, okay, is this choice really worth what I'm sacrificing for it? All right, take a look at this number. $1,250. Seems pretty specific, right? What if I told you that number is probably the result of a very common everyday choice that a lot of us make? This is where opportunity cost gets real. That number, it's the difference between buying an $8 lunch every workday for a year versus packing one that costs $3. So the opportunity cost of those daily bought lunches isn't just $5 a day, it's a vacation. And when you frame it like that, it completely changes the decision, doesn't it? Okay, so that makes sense for us as individuals. We get it. But now let's zoom out, because it turns out the exact same logic applies to an entire society. So what you're looking at here is called a production possibilities frontier, or a PPF for short. You can just think of it like a giant budget constraint, but for a whole country. It shows all the possible combinations of two things a society can produce with its limited resources. In this case, we're looking at healthcare versus education. Now, you probably noticed something different right away. Alfonso's budget line was straight, but this PPF is curved. So what's up with that? Well, for Alfonso, the price of a burger is always $2. It's fixed. But for a society, not all resources are created equal. Some are better at one thing than another. And that curve demonstrates something called the law of increasing opportunity cost. Here's what that means in plain English. As a country decides to pour more and more resources into, say, education, it has to start pulling resources away from healthcare. At first, that's no big deal. But eventually, you're trying to turn brain surgeons into kindergarten teachers. And the cost, the amount of healthcare you have to give up, gets higher and higher for every little gain in education. So after all that, we get to the big question. Why does any of this matter to you? Well, because economics isn't just a subject you study in school. It's a powerful new lens for looking at the world. One of the greats, John Maynard Keynes, said it perfectly. Economics isn't a bunch of rules you have to memorize. It's a toolkit. It's a technique for thinking more clearly about every choice and trade-off that shapes our lives. So, if you're going to take away a few things from our chat today, let it be these. First, economics is really just the science of choice, and it's all driven by scarcity. Second, every single choice you make has an opportunity cost, the road not taken. We all face these trade-offs, from deciding on lunch to funding a nation. And finally, understanding this isn't just academic. It's a tool for making better decisions in your own life. Which really just leaves us with one final thought. Every choice has a cost. Now that you see it, now that you have the tools to spot those hidden trade-offs, what will you choose differently?